I've got flavours to savour today. Spicy empanadas, salted coffee caramel, and the fruitiest, fluffiest marshmallows. And they're all going to be cooked right here. Hello and welcome to Pies and Puds. This programme is all about my affection for straightforward, honest food that's easy to cook but delicious to eat. Here's what's on my menu today. I find myself in a bit of a baking battle as two chefs fight it out over their South American savoury snacks. I'm a little bit worried because I think you're going to want me to judge these. I do have a favourite in my head. And to settle the differences, I create my own version of their spicy parcels, my chicken and chorizo empanadas. I go in search of what makes the perfect coffee. Would you like to try some coffee? What do you think of that one?
I can't take it, I think milk and sugar.
And discover how roasting the beans brings out the fullest flavour. I think I'll have one of these in my kitchen. I might have to build an extension though. Which I'll then use to add an exquisite coffee punch to my luxurious coffee eclairs. This is going to taste so good. And it's marshmallow madness. I'm joined by the Marshmallowists, queens of the sweet and fluffy world. I show them how I eat them. Well, it'd be rude not to. That is stunning. And they show me how to make them. Nice marshmallow.
I've done that before.
And we work together as I make my sticky toffee pudding with a marshmallow twist. It's gorgeous, it's gooey, and with those two marshmallows sitting on top, it's going to be magic. And all my guests get to join me in eating everything. Empanadas.
Anybody from creme caramel?
Oh no, can I have a bit of the sauce?
Are you going to try one of these here? Wow, it cracks really easy, doesn't it?
Fantastic.
I really admire anyone who has a passion for their cooking, especially the Argentinians, who definitely love their food. Seduced by the sizzling steaks and the spicy chimichurri, I want to learn more about their cooking, and in particular, their tasty empanadas. An empanada is a savoury pastry parcel that can come with a whole variety of fillings, and passions for this snack run high. In London, there's a South American battle being played out. Two Argentinian restaurants with one shared belief that each one make the greatest empanadas on this side of the Atlantic. At Restaurant Constantia, Sebastian believes his are the best.
Empanada is a big tradition in Argentina. It's one of the most traditional dishes that we have. It's a simple pasty, but in Argentina it has developed a personality of its own. But to me, the best empanadas can be found here.
At Restaurant Garifin, Ernesto is no less passionate.
We tend to believe that we're the best at doing an empanada. We're so proud and so passionate about it that we like to believe that we're the best at it.
Empanadas come with many different fillings. Beef, cheese, vegetables, and how you choose to fill your empanadas depends on where you come from. Sebastian's favourite recipe is all about remembering home.
The recipe that we use would be Buenos Aires, being passed on by a family friend.
And his secret weapon is his family.
So this is my auntie, Alejandra, and she's the heart and soul of the restaurant. She makes the best empanadas in the world. She puts a lot of love into her cooking. I think that you can tell when you try an empanada. It's a special thing. There's a lot of love that went into it.
Over at Garifin, Ernesto is still confident that his beef filling is the one. He quite likes his recipe.
It's good. This is the empanada salteña. Onions, spring onions, cumin, ají, which is the dry chili from Argentina, from the north, and paprika. That's it. And salt and pepper. The best thing about an empanada is the juiciness of the filling and the crispiness of the dough. That's the best thing about the empanada. Not too beefy. It tastes a little bit of the onions, cumin, and a slight little kick from the ají. That is how an empanada should taste.
Although empanadas come with different fillings, if you want to know what's inside, look at the outside. Every filling has its own elaborate crimping.
This is a traditional beef empanada with its traditional folding. This other one is a traditional sweet corn pasty. This sort of crimp, which is made by just pressing a fork into the dough to define the spinach and cheese.
The world of the empanada gets even more complicated when you have to decide whether to fry or bake.
Nice and crispy. The only downfall of an empanada baked is that you have to eat them straight away.
Which is fine by me. Chef Ernesto's boss is Alberto, and he thinks so too.
A good empanada is juicy and it drips. That's why I open my legs like that. They are amazing.
Our best empanada is the beef one. Haven't tried a better one.
These guys really care, and this little empanada is part of a big tradition.
The most important part is like the fact that the ritual of sharing and having a good time together. So in Argentina, what we do is we meet with our family on a Sunday. We share a few nice empanadas, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who does the best.
Yeah, we think we're the best.
But I think we do the best.
But we think we have the best.
We make the best ones.
I'm delighted that Sebastian, Maria and Ernesto have joined me, and they have brought their delicious empanadas with them. Welcome. Hola.
Thank you.
Now, this looks impressive. I'm sensing there's a little bit of rivalry between these two sets of empanadas. Now, empanadas seems to be prolific between Latin America, Hispanic community in America as well, and in Spain, and in Portugal, and in Britain.
Obviously, everyone loves empanadas in Argentina, so if there is a big event, surely you'll have some empanadas going around.
But there is a bit of heritage, I think, worldwide. If I go to any country, they'll all say they make the best empanadas in the world.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
It's like the Italians with their focaccia. Every village makes the best focaccia in Italy.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried because I think you're going to want me to judge these. Now, I think the easiest way to do it is obviously to eat them. Do you have a beef one?
Yes, yes.
Which
we do.
one's your beef one?
These ones would be the beef ones,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
This is the beef one.
Yeah.
If I pop that one down on there. And do you have one, Ernesto? Do you have a beef?
The beef, same crimp.
Again, very similar crimp, very similar size, looks very attractive. I'll just cut this one in half. Cut this one in half. It does look quite impressive. Can I pass you that one?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
And I'll eat this one. Tell me what you think about it. Now, obviously, this is Ernesto's.
Yeah.
Okay?
What do you think?
It's sweeter than the one we make. You can tell that, and you can get a little bit of the carrot also there.
Yeah.
And the onion.
There's a little bit of bite there as well to it, a little bit of heat that sort of floats in and out. What would you mark that out of 10?
I would give it an 8.
An 8 out of 10. That's a respectable score. So what we've got here is, this is yours, Maria. Now, Maria doesn't speak any English, so we're going to have to use interpretation through Sebastian. Ernesto, would you like to have a bite and tell me what you think of this one?
It's slightly smoky. No? A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm getting, again, a little bit of heat going through. It is very juicy. What would you mark that one out of 10? I know what you're going to say here.
Shall we make it an even 8?
That's what I was waiting for, number 8. Here we go. So we're back where we started from, right? One's baked and one's fried. I have a favourite in my head. I do have a favourite in my head. I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay.
But you have very regional types, and it's very difficult to judge one against the other when you've got two different regions with two different traditions and two different flavours coming from two different parts of Argentina. They do remind me a lot of Cornish pasties because the shapes that it gets crimped, and also the fact that the miners used to go to South America hundreds and hundreds of years ago to mine Argentina as well. Mm-hmm. They would have brought these Cornish pasties with them on the boat. Yeah. And they look very similar, you know. You see, I'm thinking...
Are you implying that empanadas are British?
Yes, I am.
You're going to be the most unpopular chef in Argentina.
Now, I'm going to make an empanada. Now, I'm going to use chicken. Now, to start with, I'm using chicken thigh, which is here, which I've roasted for 45 minutes. So you can see the juices there from the chicken. I'm going to leave them now while I prepare the rest of the filling. Now, to start with, heat up your pan, cumin seeds straight in, and leave them to dance for a minute.
It's all right, Paul, if we make some mate.
Absolutely, sorry.
Yeah, some mate tea. Typical infusion from South America. We drink it and we share.
Absolutely, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm up for that.
You drink it with friends, with work colleagues.
I love the fact that, Sebastian, you're going to eat it with Ernesto.
Yes, no
so
problem.
we rise above this empanada gate.
We're going to become friends with the mate.
Now, over here, I'm going to put some raisins in there, put the chorizo straight in the pan as well. A few onions in there. You happy with that, Maria?
¿Está bien eso?
Is that okay? Is that okay, Ernesto?
Looks good. Yeah.
A bit more onion, but...
You want more onion?
Yeah. It's one of the secrets, to get a lot of onion and a lot of juice there.
What I'm going to do is put this into a container. I'll scrape every onion out now, just for you, Sebastian.
Thank you.
And over here, I've got my chicken thigh, which I'm just going to take the skin off.
This is the mate.
When you have mate, there is only one person who is the cebador, which is the one who is allowed to pour the water in the mate.
Right.
So it has to pass it around and always goes to the same person. So Sebastian, pass it to you.
Is this like a
you
peace
give it
pipe
back
then?
Yeah, particularly when we were talking about empanadas.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to chop up some of the chicken thighs. I want to try and keep that juice in there as well. So if I lift that up, pop that in there as well. Happy with that.
Your mate tea is ready.
Oh, is it ready?
Yep.
How do you drink? Just sip it?
Yeah,
You can never touch the straw. It blocks.
It looks like a gaucho already.
Exactly.
It's nice. It's very strong.
Yeah.
I like it. It's got a bit of kick to it.
Yeah.
I like that.
It will get you going.
OK, so there I've got my filling at the moment for my empanada. It smells very good. Now, the next stage is to produce the pastry. I've got my flour. I'm going to put an egg in there, a little bit of seasoning in there as well. Finally, I've got some water. I've got some butter, which I'm going to put straight in. Now, is this normal? Would you normally do it this way?
Normally, also in Argentina, a lot of people do it still with kind of beef dripping. I mean, if you think people doing this in the countryside and so on, that's probably what they had.
Years ago in this country, we used to use a lot of lard.
Oh, okay.
During the war. Butter was rare till later on. So the whole idea of using butter is probably the modern-day equivalent of using a fat. That feels good. Fold and knead the dough, adding a little bit of flour until it's soft and elastic. I like that. How does that feel, Maria? Does that feel okay? Who makes your dough, Sebastian? Is it Maria?
Because we have to make many empanadas. We import from Argentina. A ready-made.
Buy-in dough.
Yeah, well, when we have to make like 400 empanadas.
It doesn't take very long. I mean, that'll probably do about 10. I mean, I could mix you up a dough for 400 in about 20 minutes.
You can come and work with us at the restaurant. It's no problem.
Now, I'm just going to roll out a piece of dough. Now, I'm rolling this quite thin. You put quite a lot of filling in, don't you?
Yeah.
You really
Yeah,
do
they
pack
have
it
to
out.
be pretty packed.
An egg. So I'm sort of guessing where it's going to go around there. Get my pastry, fold it over. What I'm going to do is push that down. I'm going to trim that round. This is my homemade dough, boys. And then when it comes to the crimping, I'm going to bring Maria up now to show me something. Maria?
Que lo ayudes a mate tea if you want.
Ah, thank you. Okay. Sebastian, can you ask Maria, is it a good dough?
¿Está buena la masa?
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
So Maria's actually going out crimping it. And that looks, doesn't that look beautiful? So egg wash on the top. I'll place that on there. There's one. Now these are going to be baked off at 200 degrees centigrade for at least 15 minutes. They're beautiful and golden brown and crispy. I bake my empanadas, but you can fry them, and you can serve them hot or cold. and we'll serve them later. So, guys, Maria, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we get a chance to eat it, and you're going to have to judge me.
Okay.
Excellent.
So remember, 8 out of 10, yeah? Say 9. Still to come, I search for the perfect coffee to get my tasty treats buzzing. This is going to taste so good. And I'll be adding a sweet twist to a decadent dessert with the help of the queens of marshmallows. Look at the top of that.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
It's time now to rediscover a traditional treat. Do you remember opening a bag of pink and white marshmallows on bonfire night, dipping your hand... Forget about all that. These are real marshmallows, and these are the marshmallowists. Welcome, Una and Kim.
Thank you very much.
These look impressive. What gave you the idea to stick with marshmallows?
We decided to do marshmallows because we knew that we could do something really different with them. So it's all made with whole fruits and essential oils, so all the colours that you see come exactly from the fruits that we use, not anything artificial.
Why marshmallows?
Well, I trained as a chocolate maker in Paris. I've been making them for years, and it's a traditional French recipe that we use, and then moved back to London. And no one else seemed to be doing it, and you can be just as creative with marshmallows in terms of flavours than you can with any other baking product or chocolate.
They look great. What flavour is this one?
The one you've got in your hand is raspberry and champagne, so that's made with whole raspberries, which are pureed up, and then a glass of champagne is added into the mix just to bring out the flavour of the raspberries.
He's doing the bake-off look.
That is absolutely delicious, actually. The way it does melt, it just melts straight away. You do get that initial hit of raspberry.
Yeah.
And that stays with you all the way through, but the texture is fantastic. That is stunning. And what's the other flavour, then?
That one's my personal favourite. That one's passion fruit and ginger.
This one, passion fruit and ginger.
Yeah.
Wow.
OK, so it's your turn. I believe you're going to show me how to make marshmallows.
We are indeed. We're going to teach you how to make strawberry and basil marshmallows.
Lovely, OK. My kitchen is your kitchen.
Well,
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. So to begin with, we've got glucose in the pan already, and then we're going to add in strawberry puree, sugar.
Yeah. I like sitting down watching other people work in a bakery. I think it's a nice feeling, actually.
So we're just going to incorporate that fully.
So there's also some glucose in with the strawberry puree here.
OK.
So you just do that to incorporate it.
So what you're doing in there, you're actually beginning to melt down the sugar.
I am melting down the sugar, yeah. Just incorporating the glucose, the sugar and the puree together. And we're going to bring that up to 112 degrees.
OK. So you're using a thermometer at the moment to take it up to the temperature?
Yeah, so when you see it starting to foam, you know you should probably put your thermometer in and not burn your fingers on the steam at the same time, because it can get very quickly up to 112 now.
And here we've got some soaked gelatin leaves, which we've melted down, and this will go into the mix.
So that's the melted sugar going in?
Exactly, that's the sugar, the puree and the glucose going into the pan. Make sure that you've got your mixer on a really low speed, because otherwise it'll go absolutely everywhere, and we'd really rather people didn't burn themselves when they were making these at home.
Melted gelatin will stabilise the mixture, so you can increase the speed and mix for a good 12 minutes.
OK, so that's been going for about 5 or 6 minutes already, and you can see it's doubled in volume and has gone a lot lighter. So what you do is leave it for about another 6 minutes, and you're looking for it to quadruple in volume. It should really fill to the top third of the bowl. And look out for a nice long drip off the whisk. You don't want to over-whip it, otherwise it's going to be a really tough marshmallow. And then you just take it off your mixer and pour it, level it off with a palette knife so it's nice and even. And then you want to leave it for 4 to 6 hours to set. Just room temperature, you just want to cover it in greaseproof paper, which leads me beautifully on to one that...
So this is one that has been...
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You dust it as well so that it doesn't stick to the greaseproof while it's setting.
This is a mix of corn flour and icing sugar, 50-50, because the icing sugar would absorb and the corn flour makes it stop. It doesn't absorb into the wet of the marshmallow.
That looks lovely. It's got a lovely, lovely feel to it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So you just cut this up now, do you?
We do indeed, yes.
OK.
Do you want to tip it out onto this?
Got the whole thing?
Yeah, go for it.
And now it's time for the big reveal. Over it goes onto the board. Peel back the food wrap. Nice marshmallow.
Done that before.
Lovely. It just needs dusting.
And then as you go, you can cut whatever shapes you like, Paul. You can get creative.
Oh, really? I'm going to cut square.
No. Well.
Do you use a hot blade to go through this, or does it matter?
Normally we would, yes.
Yeah, really hot blade,
Yeah.
dipping it in water, bringing it out. I was going to say, it's quite awkward with a cold blade, isn't it? I think that's. I want to try some anyway. That's really nice. And what's really interesting, there's something else in there as well.
There is indeed, yes. There's a hint of basil, which we add at the end of the mixing process.
That
just
basil
to
works.
complement the flavour.
It does work really well.
It does really work. It's one of our most unusual combinations, but I really love it. I think it tastes delicious.
So I like drinking hot chocolate, and hot chocolate with a marshmallow in the top.
It is
Just
perfect.
stirred in.
Yeah.
Makes a difference. And I'd like to try it, one of these sort of big fellas as well. That'd be fantastic.
You should.
I've seen how the Marshmallowists make their sweet treats, and later I'll be showing them my sticky toffee pudding, and they might add some of their marshmallow magic. I think it needs one of those, 2 of your marshmallows sitting on the top. True sticky toffee pudding. My next bake is 2 recipes, a rich creme caramel and an eclair, both based on a flavour that's loved by millions, and everyone has their personal preference. Coffee. Love it or hate it, everybody has their own opinion on it. But before I go ahead and choose the flavour to go inside my dessert, I need to go back to basics and find out what makes a good coffee. I'm using coffee in both my eclairs and my creme caramel. And to give me a steer on what flavours people like best, I've come to Musselburgh in East Lothian with 3 different coffees. A properly bitter coffee. B, a robust, strong coffee. And C, a smoother, rounded coffee. For me, the bitter coffee is best. But what will the people of Musselburgh say? Would you like to try some coffee?
I would love to try some coffee.
Would you normally drink coffee yourself? Okay. We've got 3 different types of coffee here. A, B, C. Take each one of each cup, have a little sip, tell me which one you like. Try A. What do you think of that one?
Oh, I don't like that one.
You don't like A?
No.
Why?
That's quite boring. Tastes like soup.
It's horrible. It's disgusting.
Don't you like it?
It's got like a savoury taste to it, no?
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. No one likes my favourites. Maybe they'll feel different once they've tried the others. Try B. This is a Kenyan one. A bit more roundy, earthy, pungent.
It's a little bit better, eh? It's a bit stronger than the first one, I think.
That one's better.
You like that?
Nah, it's all right.
You can handle B, not A.
Okay.
I like that one better.
You like that one? Why do you like that one?
I like strong coffee and...
Yeah. Try C.
That's just as bad as A, I would say.
Which one do you prefer?
Middle one.
You go for B.
that one.
You prefer C? Personally, you go for C?
Yeah.
You go for B every time?
B.
B.
I like beef. It's got a sort of berry aftertaste.
B had more flavour.
Why haven't you picked A or C then?
They've got a bit of aftertaste.
I can't take it. I threw milk and sugar.
It's all strong B and smooth C. No one likes my bitter old A. Personally, if it was me, I went for A. So I like that sourness, I like that bitterness, I like that hit which you get. I like espresso.
Yeah, it's just rank.
Okay. And just when I think I'm all on my own,
A.
hey, you like that flavour?
That's better.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed, young man. Okay, I've got someone that agrees with me. In Musselburgh today, B and C are coming out on top, and B's probably edging it. So, the consensus on coffee is that strong or smooth is better than bitter. But when it comes to puds, do I need to look at things differently? You know what I need? A coffee expert. Hello, Ralph.
Hello, Paul. Nice to meet you.
This is Brodie's, Scotland's oldest coffee merchant. They import coffee beans from all over the world and blend them into flavours we either love or hate. I found out this morning that people are very, very opinionated on what coffee they like.
I think it's like everything. Everybody has their own personal choice of things. And what we've really done is adapted to choice and taste over the years. But now it's really the taste and the quality that people are interested in.
And when you're talking about a good coffee, that means beans.
The 2 main types are Robusta and Arabica. This is Robusta. 30% of the world's coffee, very much a cash crop, originally grown across Central Africa, without much husbandry or cultivation or irrigation.
Robusta has a stronger flavour than Arabica and is used to create the blended flavours that make our instant coffee.
Whereas the Arabica is very much a different thing altogether, cultivated with fertilisation, irrigation. This is where all your character comes from, all the subtlety comes from.
Arabica is considered to be superior to Robusta and has a delicate, acidic flavour and more refined aroma. The key to producing great coffee flavour is blending beans grown around the world, and that means roasting them.
Well, can I introduce you to Martin, who's been roasting our coffee for the last 20 years.
Aye.
Wow, what a good bit of kit this is.
Yep, big machine. This is obviously the roaster.
So, what beans are you using to start with?
Well, I've got 3 different types of beans to start with. We've got the Java, Brazilian and the Guatemalan. Our goal is to try and roast them to a process where the water's out, and at the end of it, it's all level. So when you look at it, you think it's only one type of bean that's in it. Obviously, that's why you're roasting it, because when it's green coffee, there's no flavour at that point. So we do the roasting process, and that ends up bringing the flavour out.
Once the beans reach the ideal temperature, water is added to lock in that coffee flavour.
It's funny, actually, the fact that he's adding water to that to stop the process from carrying on burning the bean is exactly what you do when you're making a caramel. You take the caramel to the right colour that you want, take the pan off the heat, and of course, if you leave it in the pan, the sugar carries on burning. So you plunge the whole pan in cold water, and it stops the caramel from burning anymore. Exactly the same thing what they're doing in there.
After roasting, the beans now have a blended flavour and are ready to be ground down to make a delicious cup of coffee.
There we go.
Lovely smell. I think I'll have one of these in my kitchen. I might have to build an extension though.
We all love coffee, but the flavours we like have changed over the years.
OK then, Ralph, what have we got here?
Over on the right, we've got a coffee from the 50s or 60s. Now, it wasn't a great time for coffee. We were still drinking lots of instant coffee. I don't know if you remember coffee and chicory, but that was really a coffee of that time.
When was that?
50s, 60s, because chicory was a lot cheaper than coffee.
Taking the mickey, Ralph? You
Not
think I'm
at
that
all.
old?
Maybe your mother has told you.
You're
about
winding
it.
me up, Ralph.
OK, so next, we're moving into the 70s, and that was when things really became a little bit trendy, and we had Jamaica Blue Mountain, which was quite an acid coffee.
Yeah. Can I just also add, in the 70s, I wasn't really drinking coffee. I still wasn't old enough.
Maybe the 80s, maybe the 90s. We'll get there.
OK.
Now, 90s. Are you with us in the 90s?
Just about coming into the 90s, yeah.
You must have had a hard life, Paul.
I love you, Ralph. Just want you to know that.
Thank you. Next one we're moving on to is what happened at the end of the 90s and into the noughties, and that was very much espresso. And what we've got here is a blend of 3 different coffees. You think of things like curries, you know, how people now have much stronger curries, and it's a very similar thing with coffee. Our palates have developed, so we're looking for something different.
Coffees have increased in strength and bitterness, and those 2 qualities are what I need for my recipes. My 2 desserts will need 2 distinct coffees.
One thing I do know about baking, the way to impart a coffee flavour into whatever you're going to do, the best way is espresso form.
We've got our Colombian here, our straight Colombian. We've got our Java, and we've got our blend of Brazil, Guatemalan, and Java.
There is something at the end that is sitting on the tongue more. So this next one is the Java.
Yeah.
Huge kick. As soon as you put it in, bang, it just hits you. Finally, this is the blend. Smooth. That's what it's just sort of stays like that throughout all of it. Here, I think the Java would go really well with the caramel. That little bit of hint at the end to go with the sweetness coming from the caramel sauce. The blend would go really well with the Eclairs. I've added salted caramel to the Eclairs. The addition of that coffee would balance well with that salt. I'm blending textures as well as flavours in these 2 puds, and I think I've chosen wisely. Thank you very much indeed. Morning. I'm delighted that Ralph has joined me and has brought some of his coffee for me to use in my salted caramel eclairs and my creme caramel. What we chose next year, we chose the Java to go in the creme caramel. And that was, again, the one with that little bit of edginess to it as well. And then we've got the blend, haven't we? The blend was going to go inside the filling for the salted caramel eclairs.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they come out with the recipes.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is start with my eclairs. Now, in a pan here, I've got my water and butter. Now, what I'm going to do is add my flour straight in there and the sugar. Now, this is basically just the thickening. Basically, cook out the flour that's inside that roux. Keep it moving. The last thing you want to do is leave this sitting on the bottom and burn out. And it gets smoother and smoother as you do it. This is the basis for any good choux bun. Now, I'm happy with that. You can see the shine on the top of the choux pastry as well. And I'm happy now to add the eggs to that and beat the living daylights out of it. Break it down, it becomes a soft, glossy mix.
Add beaten eggs and stir vigorously until it forms a roux.
I'm getting absolutely covered here in egg. Have you ever made choux pastry before, Ralph?
No, I haven't actually, Paul. I'm not really so good at cooking. I'm rather better at eating.
I'm a bit like that myself, to be honest, Ralph. When I was doing this 17 years ago, we used to put this into big mixers and use a whisk, and there'd be steam pouring off it because you can see the roux beginning to cool off as it gets beaten. Now, if you look at that now, you can see that the pastry beginning to get nice and smooth. You carry on doing that, it becomes really elastic. Once you've got it to that stage, you pop it into a piping bag, and this has just gone off cool now. It's warm, but it's perfect for piping. So the size you want to do your eclairs, and basically just pipe. What you do is you bake this off now. This will balloon up and begin to crisp up and get a strong colour. Now, what I tend to do as well is, because it's full of steam, you puncture it, get a little knife, make a little hole in it that allows the steam to come out, put it back in the oven, and that will dry them out. If you don't do that, it gets very soft and soggy inside. Your eclairs should be nice and crisp on the outside and beautiful with a little bit of chew on the inside. So I'm going to pop them straight in. 15 minutes is ample. Now to the filling. In the fridge, I have some whipped cream with a little bit of icing sugar in there as well, to which you're going to add your coffee, Ralph. Straight in there. Beautiful. Basically, what you've got here is a coffee cream, and it's going to taste delicious. Look at the colour of that.
I just hope it does the job for you with those flavours and characteristics that we picked out when we tasted it.
Oh, yes. It's got that sharpness to it as well, which I like. Now, I'm going to put some of this in a piping bag, get this straight inside the eclairs. I'm just going to cut the end of it. That'll do. Take it all the way down to the bottom. I should be ready. Get your eclairs and literally just pipe a load of the filling in. There's one. Put a load of the stuff in there. Look at that, Ralph. Does that look good to you?
That does look fantastic.
So far, so good. Do you want me to pipe some in?
Absolutely.
You ready? There you go. Is that good?
I think you've used the wrong coffee, Paul.
The icing itself, I've got in here light brown sugar, butter, and a little bit of salt. Now, that's melted, into which I'm going to add some milk. Now, the milk's going to go straight in.
Add the milk and bring to the boil. Add the icing sugar until it creates a thick caramel.
If you find it's getting too thick, pop it back on the heat and just slacken down that butter and milk, and that will loosen it off again. You can see now that's thickened up beautifully and it holds on the spoon. Grab one of the eclairs and you just want to put a line across the top, like so. This is going to taste so good. There's one. I hope you like this, Ralph.
I think I'm just about ready for this, Paul. And the texture you're looking for at the end, is it going to be shiny or?
It will be shiny as it sets. As it sets, it'll get really shiny. But also, we chose another coffee, which was the Java. Now, what I have done is a creme caramel, and I've used the Java. I've concentrated on the eclairs today, but they, and I had one earlier on, will taste fantastic. There we have our beautiful salted caramel coffee eclairs. And in here, we have our creme caramel, which we use that beautiful Java coffee as well.
However you like your coffee, there's something for everyone in my salted caramel and coffee eclairs and these delicious creme caramels. Earlier, my guests, the Marshmallowists, showed me how they create their vibrant flavours and mallow texture. Now I'm going to cook for them my sticky toffee pudding, and if I'm lucky, they'll give it a marshmallow twist.
For my sticky toffee pudding, this is what you do. Start off by getting your dates, placing them into a jar, and adding your bicarb soda. Now, bicarb soda will basically help inside the cake itself and make it quite chewy.
Soften the dates in boiling water for a few minutes. Then, whisk together some dark brown sugar and butter.
So it's nice and soft.
What size do you want these?
Smaller the better, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt it inside the sauce. So what I'm going to do is make a sticky toffee sauce, and what I'm going to do is also use these marshmallows in the sauce and melt it in there, and I think that with the pudding will be absolutely delicious.
Speed up the mixer, add 2 eggs and whisk them in.
Love this stuff. It's real comfort food, you know, you have in the winter.
Yeah.
Sausage and mash, sticky toffee pudding, perfect.
Okay, but are you ice cream or are you custard? This will define you as a person.
Well, I like toffee sauce, but the thing is I like custard, you see. I like custard with anything, including Christmas pudding.
Ooh.
OK, I'm creaming this together. It's coming together quite nicely. If I lift this up and show you, you can see it's creamed together very well. The next thing I'm going to add is the flour straight in, and the baking powder, the rising agent in there, and then get in there again. So the whole thing, you can see that beautiful caramel colour coming from that sugar.
Then I add some fudge for that toffee flavour, macadamia nuts for that bit of crunch, and those softened dates.
It's absolutely jam-packed, and that's the proper sticky toffee pudding. And there it is. Look at the colour of that. The next thing to do is pour this into your tin. Now, what I'm using is quite a deep tin. This is traditional. You can put them in round domes and bake them off, but at the moment I'm going to put them in this because I'm going to divide them up into little portions. And then level it off. Are you confident about those flavours going with this, then?
Ever so. We've made caramelised banana and vanilla and coffee marshmallows.
I think it's a marriage made in heaven. OK, the next thing to do is bake this off. Now, you need to put it into an oven, 190 degrees C, for about 30 minutes. Now, when you've baked it off, this is how it comes out. It's risen, it's beautifully level, it smells malty, and it's packed with flavours and textures coming from those nuts as well. If I skewer this, and I'll explain why in a minute, skewer it all over the top, pushing all the way down to the bottom. Now we need to prepare the sauce. Over here, I've got some butter, and I've got some brown sugar in again, just melting together. You want to do this until you can't feel the sugar, until you feel it's nice and smooth. And you can see how gelatinous it's got at the moment. That is absolutely perfect. Take it off the heat, get your cream, pour that straight the way in to make your sauce. Give it a good mix round. This is going to be lovely, this. Sticky toffee pudding you just can't beat. It's basic, it's simple, but it's good home food. Look at that. So you need to pour at least half of this sauce. I'm going to hold some back for your marshmallows, because what I want to do is put I can't put all them in. So I'm going to put a load of marshmallows in this, melt it, and then serve it actually with the pudding. But the secret to a good toffee pudding is pour the liquid over the top of the pudding itself. Just spread it out. Now, the reason why you've speared it is to allow all that liquid to fall down into the pudding itself and soak in. Perfect. Now this is going to go into the grill just for about 3 minutes until this is bubbling. Now set the grill quite high. I'm going to pop it straight under the grill now. Leave that for a few minutes. Now, I've got this sauce here, which is quite warm. Okay, if I take 3, put them in there. So what I've done is got the marshmallows, see the melting inside the sauce now?
Yeah.
And that melting obviously will change the flavour of the sauce, but also change the thickness of the sauce as well. And I think it's really going to add to it. See, it's changed colour already and how thick it's getting. With those beautiful marshmallows. I think the banana's going to add. That's a great idea.
Yeah, the banana's delicious.
Now, when I bring this out now, let me show you this. Look at the top of that.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
It's all caramel on the outside now. It's formed a nice crust on the outside. They're nearly melted. So what I'm going to do is cut a piece of this cake, this pudding, out. Just draw my knife along. Portion control. This just falls through, it's like butter. I'll take a nice wedge there. There we have it. I'm just going to serve it with some of that gorgeous marshmallow sauce around the outside, which I don't think you two will either complain about.
No. Not at all.
I think it needs one of those, 2 of your marshmallows sitting on the top. There you have it, true sticky toffee pudding. It's gorgeous, it's gooey, and with those 2 marshmallows sitting on top, with the addition of those flavours, it's going to be magic.
I don't know anyone who doesn't love a sticky toffee pudding. You may feel a bit guilty, but I bet you won't say no. Time to share what's been cooked. There's my chicken and chorizo empanadas, inspired by the Argentinian passion of Sebastian and Ernesto. My eclairs and creme caramel, using the coffee I chose with the help of Ralph. And my sticky toffee pudding with that extra marshmallow twist from Una and Kim.
You've all watched me very patiently cooking with your delicious ingredients you've all brought today, but it's time now to tuck in. There's a coffee caramel. I think, Ralph, you need to try one of those.
I will.
You have these beautiful marshmallows. I think we should start certainly with the empanadas. Can I pass you one of those round down there? Be nice, guys, you know. play fair. Wow, it cracks really easy, doesn't it? What do you think of the empanadas?
Very good. Very tasty. Maybe a bit more onion.
Okay. What? What would you give me out of 10 then?
I don't know. It's a good 8.
A good 8. We're all on 8. Tuck in, help yourself.
Anybody from
I've never seen it done before.
Oh, no, can I have a bit of the sauce?
It's really
You like that?
delicious, isn't it?
Fantastic.
You wouldn't need to drink coffee.
It does.
Wow.
That's the Java in that one.
It comes right through, and just at the finish. So it's great.
I think with the marshmallow in there as well.
That's what makes it.
Delicious.
That other thing that he did.
It'd be a 10 with the marshmallow and probably a 6 without. I've had great fun today, and what could be better than ending it with tasty food and good company? Join me next time on Pies and Puds, and we can do it all over again. Yeah, you've got to try one of these here. Just take a big bite.